Is the shtick for Angel Reese, is it starting to wear thin? Is the faucet of Angel Reese's celebrity starting to slowly slow down?
Remember when Angel Reese joined Shaq's podcast network and everyone thought it would be a big deal? Well, fast forward a few months, and her latest episode barely hit 100 views. No, that's not a mistake. Only a few hundred people tuned in. So, what's really going on? Is Angel's podcast just a failed side project, or is it actually damaging her basketball career? Fans are calling her out for focusing on interviews with reality TV stars instead of bringing in guests who could add real value to the show. Today, we're diving into the downfall of unapologetically Angel and what it could mean for her future in basketball.
Unapologetically Angel launched in September of 2024 as part of Shaquille O'Neal's The Big Podcast Network. And of course, it is on YouTube. Go subscribe at your own damn peril at this point.
In September, Angel Reese launched her podcast with Shaq's network, and fans couldn't stop talking about it. Everyone expected her to be a huge success, balancing her basketball career with a powerful voice in the podcast world, thanks to Shaquille O'Neal's support and the backing of a big network. With all the hype, it seemed impossible for it to fail. After her success on the court, the podcast appeared to be the perfect move for Angel to grow her brand and influence even more.
Tell you guys, Angel Reese is definitely still running her podcast through Unrivaled, through this whole offseason, and it's looking like she might have just met her match with the viewership or algorithm. I don't know what it is, but her podcast has hit an immediate roll.
At first, things seemed to be going great. Her partnership with Shaq gave Angel instant credibility in the media world, and basketball fans were excited to hear from one of the WNBA's hottest rookies. Experts even thought she might follow in the footsteps of athletes like Draymond Green, who made a successful move into media. The podcast kicked off with a lot of excitement, and expectations were sky high. But now, just a few months later, the numbers tell a very different story, and it's pretty surprising.
Chicago Sky. I mean, people get more views covering her than her actual podcast with her in the footage interviewing celebs. I mean, I just cannot believe it.
While Angel's basketball highlights regularly rack up millions of views on social media, her podcast episodes are struggling to even reach triple digits. What started with thousands of listeners now barely attracts a few hundred. This isn't just a minor drop. It's a full-blown collapse in audience engagement.
But this right here is looking spooky. I can't even lie to you, dog. I'm like, damn. How the hell did Angel Reese go from being superstar basketball player to views in the hundreds?
What makes this decline so surprising is how quickly it happened. It wasn't a slow fade over years. This podcast went from being highly anticipated to practically forgotten in just a few weeks. Every new episode seems to perform worse than the last, revealing a clear downward trend that would worry any media executive. The numbers don't lie. This isn't just a random dip, but a consistent pattern pointing to deeper problems.
Angel Reese's podcast, I think for a lot of us, we believe this is the kind of thing she really wants to do. She doesn't really want to play hoop. She wants to play celebrity. All right, and that's fine. I mean, that's great.
And this is happening at the worst possible time for Angel's basketball career. While she should be focusing on cementing her place as a top player in the WNBA with the Chicago Sky, she's dividing her attention with a media project that's clearly falling flat. The contrast is hard to ignore. A rising star on the court and a struggling host behind the mic.
Angel Reese haven't got over 5,000 views in over a week, dog. Last time she got 100,000 views was like a week ago. And it seemed like everything went downhill after this interview, bruh.
What's even more revealing is what's happening in her comment sections. Fans who once supported her podcast are now openly questioning her priorities. Comments like "this sucks," "I'm unfollowing and unsubscribing" are popping up all over her social media. The unfollow button is getting more attention than the play button on her podcast episodes. These aren't just trolls. They're fans who were once in Angel's corner, but now feel disconnected from what she's putting out.
Anyway, she released this podcast, and her own fans have rejected the podcast. They're like, you know what? This crap sucks. I'm unfollowing you. I'm unsubscribing to you.
Industry insiders are now speculating that the podcast might not last much longer due to its poor performance. This quick drop raises serious concerns about Angel's brand management and her grasp of what her audience wants, especially as she continues to promote new episodes. The numbers paint a clear picture. People just aren't tuning in anymore.
Now, this is the people that subscribed to her to begin with. Think about that a minute. That actually decided they wanted to tune in to her.
Steep drop in listeners isn't just about winning interest. It's a direct result of Angel's surprising choice of guests, which has left fans scratching their heads. Rather than bringing on fellow athletes or sports experts, Angel opted to feature reality TV stars from Asterisk. The Impact Atlanta Asterisk to talk about relationship drama. Imagine tuning in for basketball insights, only to hear from guests that most basketball fans don't even recognize.
Angel Reese's latest podcast decision has left her listeners disappointed, primarily due to her choice of guest. Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, who cares about these people? Honestly.
So who are these guests causing all the drama? Jada, Chi, and De Dior are reality stars from Asterisk. The Impact Atlanta Asterisk on BT, and they've been featured on Angel's podcast, leaving her core audience confused and disconnected. This is a big shift from the athletes and musicians who helped build her original fan base. It's like showing up to a basketball game, only to find they're playing checkers instead.
This one right here got 781 views. I don't know who Jada Angel spills the tea and deal with Jada and Dez. I don't know who these ladies are. I just gotta be honest. I don't know who Jada and Dez is, but people ain't feeling them, bruh.
What's even more surprising is the content of these episodes. Instead of discussing basketball strategies, training routines, or the mental side of competing at the highest level, Angel and her guests dove into relationship topics. They talked about who should earn more in relationships, with Jada and Chi agreeing that men should be the ones making more money. It's a sharp departure from what fans were expecting, and it left many scratching their heads.
One of the questions the WNBA star was asked about money in relationships. Quote, do you feel like you had to date somebody that's in the industry? The WNBA star asked their guests, adding, or that's making the same amount of money that you are making or more.
Angel herself added to the conversation by commenting on men's insecurities, saying, a lot of men don't like women who have their own. Just pause for a moment and think about that. Here's a professional basketball player, someone who's breaking barriers for women in sports, now hosting conversations about men needing to make more money than women. The disconnect is impossible to ignore.
They got to be making more money, Des Doria said, to which Jada Cheeves agreed, adding that it is their, quote, issue regarding relationships. As for Reese, she mentioned men's insecurities when it comes to women earning a higher income than their partners. Is that still a thing? That still bothers people?
The backlash came fast and hard. Fans who once defended Angel are now the ones unfollowing her. One comment really captured the frustration. All these women out here doing amazing things, and you choose to interview rappers' girlfriends? It just doesn't sit right with me. Another fan didn't hold back, comparing her podcast to one where 3 kids judge food they'd never even tried. The disappointment was clear.
Like the one podcast where 3 kids judge food they haven't eaten, laugh out loud. The same goes for a commenter who said, losing brain cells listening to this podcast. I just said IQ points were literally melting away from my brain pan as we speak.
The comment sections across various platforms tell a tough story of a fan base feeling betrayed. Some fans said they felt like they were dropping IQ points while listening, while others called it the least informative podcast on earth. These aren't just casual viewers. These are the people who once supported Angel's podcast, but now they can't justify sticking around for content that feels so far removed from what originally drew them to her.
Following the interview, fans expressed dismay over the response they gave about the role of money in relationship, feeling it overshadowed other important topics, man.
This dramatic shift in content isn't just disappointing. It's actually damaging the brand Angel worked hard to build as a fierce competitor and basketball icon. Fans who admired her authentic, unapologetic style on the court now see her chasing shallow content trends instead of playing to her strengths. It's like Michael Jordan suddenly deciding to launch a cooking channel without even knowing how to boil water.
Following the interview, fans expressed their dismay over the responses they gave about money and relationships, feeling it overshadowed other important topics. Quote, "They said a lot of nothing." The responses are dumb, another person added.
The most frustrating part for fans is seeing all that potential go to waste. Angel has a platform and voice that could be used to highlight important conversations about women's sports, athlete development, or social issues that relate to her experience. Instead, she's giving airtime to D-list celebrities talking about outdated relationship dynamics, topics that feel completely out of place, especially given her own career.
Angel, all these women out here doing phenomenal things, but you choose rappers' girlfriends to interview, just really throws me. That's a hell of a good comment. That really is. That's a hell of a good comment.